All right, breaking news. People are already dying. They are dying as a result of Elon Musk's government takeover, and we need to talk about this. I refuse to bite on any of Trump's crazy distractions, any of his crazy day-to-day antics, because we need to be doubling down on the Elon Musk coverage. What he's doing behind the scenes is not only detrimental to America's standing abroad, but even people on the ground in DC have been calling me, have been texting me saying it is getting scary out here. They are blacking out some of the windows, covering up some of the buildings of the Treasury Department or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and we can't even see what's going on, meaning Elon Musk and his cronies behind closed doors are continuing to take over the government and cause actual deaths. All that I ask is that you drop a like and subscribe to help boost this video, and let's just start off here. USAID freeze claims first victims as oxygen supplies cut off. A 71-year-old woman died after being sent home from a USAID-funded hospital, and others have been dying after hospitals close and refugee camps, all because of Elon Musk's selfish, egotistical crusade within our government. And this is a prime example of why USAID is important, why there's a lot of utility in having an aid program like this, and we need to make sure this reaches the average voter, because I find it frustrating when Elon Musk pumps out rapid-fire propaganda about foreign aid to the point where the average citizen now believes it's just a giant handout to other governments. And the problem with that type of propaganda coming from Elon Musk is that for every conspiracy theory I debunk, he can push out 10 more conspiracies in that exact same breath, because debunking these takes serious time. It takes serious effort, and that gives propagandists the upper hand. They get to paint the US as an endless ATM machine, just funding absurd things like a non-binary dance class in Mumbai, whatever the hell. I just made that up. But Elon Musk tries to pick these tiny things, blast them out into the public, and now the average citizen thinks that's what USAID does without understanding that it actually helps save lives. I mean, here's what Elon Musk won't tell you about USAID. Number one, it funds clinics that provide life-saving healthcare to people who have no other options. Number two, it helps prevent the spread of diseases, and not just in other countries. But before those diseases can reach the US, USAID tries to neutralize them, which is great. It provides disaster relief to communities hit by war or famine or natural disasters, and then it stabilizes regions, and it creates new allies for the US. So after we fought poverty or food insecurity or human trafficking, the amount of global instability reduces, and less global instability means less migration surging at our borders, which is what Donald Trump claims to want. So now, because Elon Musk doesn't understand any of that, people are dying. And this entire stunt by Elon Musk saved us a whopping 0.4% on our budget. USAID made up 0.4%. So rather than going after our military budget or the many other things that you could cut, Elon Musk goes after USAID, which causes people to die. He goes after healthcare, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and then he says the military budget is coming last. Number one, I doubt they're ever going to go for the military because Elon Musk has contracts with his own companies that he doesn't want to affect, but also they're costing lives. All to cut 0.4% of our budget. It is all a trade-off. I will be willing to send 0.4% of my taxes overseas to make sure the US can be a leader when it comes to healthcare and stuff like that, and to make sure that people are getting their oxygen. Before we dig into this story of the 71-year-old woman, because it is heartbreaking, I have had a friend on the ground in DC who's been calling me and texting me relentlessly and saying, Mockler, you gotta be covering this story that's going on with the CFPB because it is incredibly scary and nobody's really covering it. So let's just start here and then we'll move on to the USAID story, which is equally as scary. So, secrecy and covered windows preceded the shutdown of the Consumer Protection Agency's headquarters, and the implications of this shutting down are scary. And I'm not sure many people have just openly talked about why Elon Musk is doing this. So really quickly, over the weekend, some staff members at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau saw a sign of trouble to come. Windows in 2 basement conference rooms were covered with brown paper and blue painter's tape, concealing their occupants. Voices could be heard inside discussing cuts to government agencies. When the door was cracked open, there were young people with temporary badges. Which temporary young people do you guys think were there? It was fresh evidence that the agency, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which was created to protect Americans from financial fraud, protect Americans from abuse and deceptive practices, was the newest target of Elon Musk. And here are some statements that really show the stakes. The shutdown of all supervision and oversight by the CFPB will allow all manner of financial companies, from Wall Street megabanks to payday lenders to financial technology firms, to rip people off and mistreat customers at their will. There is a reason we have these agencies. Elon Musk wants to endlessly tear down the bureaucracy without stopping to think maybe the bureaucracy has a purpose sometimes. Maybe there's a reason there is extra bureaucracy involved when a bank wants to just rip off a consumer. Maybe it's good that there are extra steps and guardrails in place. In his first 24 hours since becoming acting CFPB director, Russell Vought has given Elon Musk's team a free hand to access sensitive data and begin to tear apart the agency, or the bureau, whose mission is immensely popular with the public and has saved families $21 billion over the past 14 years. Elon Musk sent out this tweet where he was like, if we nuke the CFPB, we can save $500 million. And it's like, dude, it's already saved people $21 billion. Vought has now made blatantly illegal moves to cut off its funding and cease complying with the statutory requirements under the 2010 Dodd-Frank law to enforce consumer protection laws. Musk will also personally benefit. This is the key part. Musk will personally benefit from this shutdown as he launches a payment system on his social media platform X in partnership with Visa. The CFPB has imposed safeguards to protect people's privacy, to remedy errors, and to combat fraud on digital payment platforms like the one X is launching. Here's the quote. This quote is money right here. Quote, the CFPB was created to keep a watchful eye on the consumer financial services marketplace. Vought is now giving all sorts of financial companies a green light to defraud and gouge their customers, said Christine Zinner, a consumer policy counsel. And this brings us on to this other story. While Elon Musk is out there trying to distract all of you guys from CFPB and from USAID, he is changing his name to Hairy Balls on Twitter and saying circumcisions are at a discount, now 69% off. It's not funny. Maybe it's funny if you're 11 years old, but Elon Musk is officially the richest 11-year-old in the world. Someone pointed out Elon Musk changed his name on his Twitter account, where he has 217 million followers, to Hairy Balls, in the event you were hoping a sane adult had access to all of your personal information and was running the country. Obviously, that is not the case, but let's go on to the main story. A 71-year-old woman has died after her oxygen supply was cut off when the United States announced a freeze on aid funding. Pei Kalau, a refugee from Myanmar living in a displacement camp in neighboring Thailand, died 4 days after she was discharged from a USAID-funded healthcare facility operated by the International Rescue Committee, the IRC. She is thought to be one of the first people to have died as a direct result of Washington's decision to freeze all funding for aid projects for 90 days. Her family told Reuters she had frequently been sent to hospital in the last 3 years as she was dependent on a supply of oxygen, but was sent home after the IRC had received a stop work order in late January. It is incredibly tragic, and it's all because of Elon Musk. The organization operates clinics that cater to roughly 80,000 people in 9 refugee camps close to the Myanmar border, but abruptly closed and locked 7 out of its 9 hospitals to comply with the uncompromising U.S. directive. The agency may be subject to an exemption as it offers life-saving. And this next line is key. It shows one of the fundamental flaws, one of the many fundamental flaws with this entire operation. It says the agency may be subject to an exemption as it offers life-saving assistance, but it is not yet clear when a waiver could be issued. And that's the problem. Nothing is clear. There are no clear directives or no clear goals with any of this, no guidelines or no timelines laid out, which means that critical life-saving programs are disrupted with deadly consequences. And again, there's no clear directive on where to go from there, which is why this article was quite scary. Tuberculosis, malaria, and newborn health services must restart, says USAID memo. That's because USAID stopped these critical services for newborns, for tuberculosis and malaria. People began to see disruptions in their medication, and it actually had downstream effects right away. American-funded aid efforts to tackle diseases such as malaria, as well as preventing newborn baby deaths and treating severe malnutrition, should resume. Oh God, it's just so bad because when you see should resume, that means they paused it with zero foresight whatsoever. They threw global health efforts into a massive scramble, into complete chaos. And let's just take malaria prevention, for example. Mosquito nets need to be distributed on a schedule. Indoor spraying has to happen at the right time, and treatment efforts need continuous funding. There are mechanisms in place for the mosquito nets to be there, for indoor spraying to happen, making sure that all of this happens on time, and even a short-term pause can lead to immediate outbreaks and can lead to unnecessary deaths and take us back, 50 years, 100 years in terms of health globally? The same goes with newborn health. What do you think happens if you pause treatments to newborns that are born in a very unhealthy state? Do you think they can just sit around for 5 days and wait for the treatments to continue? No, it causes the direct deaths of newborns, or it causes a spread of diseases that could eventually reach back to America. So then once aid resumes, restarting these programs isn't as simple as just flipping a switch and continuing it. It can cause massive delays. It can cause massive bureaucratic confusion. And I'm not saying bureaucratic as a trigger word like Elon Musk does. I'm talking about the bureaucracy that saves lives in certain places. There is a bureaucracy, if you want to call it that makes sure these mosquito nets are up, to make sure these sprays are set out so people aren't dying in certain villages, and ripping away that bureaucracy hurts people in the same way that the 71-year-old passed away. Thai authorities are now trying to stem some of the gaps, with most patients in critical conditions referred to Thai hospitals and facilities, which are going to easily become overwhelmed, and equipment to Thai health authorities. Meanwhile, local people are now self-mobilizing to offer limited care, but it is already too late for the 71-year-old who is struggling to breathe and who passed away. And I'll just leave it at that. It is scary, it is sad, and Elon Musk and Trump are trying to distract you, so don't let that happen. All that I ask is that you drop a like and subscribe. We are barreling towards 1 million. We will continue to double down on the coverage of Elon Musk. Love all of you guys, and peace out.